Well, a topic more student athletes are willing to discuss in recent years is their mental health.
Yeah, struggles at home or in school can affect their performance in competition. Todd Sadowski is here to dive into the issue that is gaining now more attention.
Well, more attention is precisely what is required. It's not always easy for young athletes in high school and college to admit they're having problems. The fear of a coach or a teammate thinking you're soft or mentally weak is real. There are a lot of ways to tackle this subject, and one of the college athletes we interviewed, Nathan Weldon, said something that gave us some direction. He received a tip that when a friend or teammate is in a tough spot, you ask them if they want support or help finding a solution. With that in mind, we decided to split our report into two stories. Part one is about mental health awareness and support. It's a topic coming into focus for high school and college student athletes.
Knowledge is power. When we know better, we do better.
One of the events to raise awareness and present knowledge to athletes, parents, coaches, and administrators takes place in early February at Susquehannock High School in York County. A free mental health symposium available to all York Adams League student athletes and their families.
If we can have something to just share a little bit of insight about, hey, maybe this is why your kid's struggling, this would be helpful to say, don't say this. I believe that everyone's doing the best they can with what they know. And so it's just a space to just talk about and learn about mental health in sports.
The first of the 2 hours at the symposium is spent communicating with coaches to help create a healthy climate on and off the field. Depression, anxiety, youth suicide prevention, it's all covered during the 60 minutes.
There's nary a teenager in this country who doesn't need a trusted adult who aren't mom or dad to be able to talk to. And it's not because that trusted adult knows more or cares more than mom or dad. It's simply because they're not mom and dad. Coaches often fill that role. And when they build those meaningful relationships, they're very often able to get to the root of things that kids don't want to tell parents. And because of that, they're often able to be their kids' greatest advocates.
During the second hour, student athletes go into a classroom setting, parents, the auditorium. In the final 10 minutes, they're brought together as a student panel offers valuable perspective.
The most important thing that I wanted parents to learn is that every person is different. It's just very eye-opening for older generations to see that there are kids who are opening up, and I think sometimes it takes them for a shock a little bit, but that's okay because everyone needs support at one time or another.
Have conversations changed at home since you've attended the symposium?
Absolutely. It's being able to listen to them and to be able to not just react of what you think or you're assuming, to be able to have those conversations. And sometimes we have the conversation in our head before we've had the conversation with them, and it's sometimes not the same conversation. And to be able to understand that and to be able to listen to them and to answer it based on what they just told us, not what we're assuming or expecting them to say.
Many of the high school kids will decide to continue their sports careers in college, where life as an athlete becomes a little more complicated.
You find yourself staring in the locker room mirror, trying not to cry, and you ask yourself, is this how I'm supposed to feel?
A former volleyball player at the University of Southern California, Victoria Garrick, documented her struggles in a YouTube video in 2017, away from home, rigorous academic requirements, and a demanding athletic schedule. She was surprised how many people connected with her message and founded an organization for college student athletes. It's called The Hidden Opponent. Shippensburg University opened a chapter of THO a few years ago.
The Hidden Opponent is a national nonprofit advocacy group for mental health and student athletes. Their goal is to advocate, educate, and support.
They advocate by hosting what they call THO Games, setting up a table where other student athletes can stop by to get more information about the club. They educate by hosting group discussions about 5 times a semester. Speakers, videos, different topics, anything to spark conversation between the athletes. And then there's the support, the most important part, according to the chapter president.
Coming right out of high school, I'm 18 years old. I got this high-level coaching staff, I got this high-level game I'm supposed to keep up with, and all this pressure I put on myself, and not really a great outlet to go, besides, talking to my teammates. But even then, the stigma itself is that males are not open enough about it, and that's why I'm in a good position now as president of a mental health club, which you don't really see in males.
I came in during COVID and I was struggling my sophomore year, kind of returning to, in person, and, you have a lot of growing pains when you're in college. And the Hidden Opponent actually had started their club, and it became a great resource for me to kind of talk to other athletes who were also struggling with the same things that I was going through.
The Hidden Opponent chapter at SHIP is growing rapidly. The first Zoom session had 10 members. A few years later, membership is at least 10 times greater.
I think at our first meeting, we had well over 100 student athletes in that first meeting, almost to the point where we were unsure whether or not we were going to fit in the classroom that we had booked for that night. Us growing and being able to have a bigger culture that's surrounded by mental health speaks to the success of the program.
Whether it's in high school or the next level in college, awareness first, followed by support. The progress is measurable, but the conversations have to continue.
You matter. I mean, it's really that simple. You matter, you are enough, and this world needs you in all of the parts of you. Like, this world needs you. Life is hard, but you can do hard things, and that's always for me like the final message.
Now, the Hidden Opponent has chapters in all 50 states. If you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health crisis, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is available 24/7 by dialing 988. We also have a list of county-by-county mental health resources on fox43.com. Now,